One of the finest animes of the decade will be concluding in what has been some of the best and well-crafted seasons of any anime to come out in recent times, and it is only rivaled by the best. Due to a 4-year hiatus, the viewer base is a fraction of what it was during 2013, but even though with that information, in 2019 it still reached new peaks constantly and consistently as it improves itself in every new season and volume. Attack on Titan may even be what we call the peak of anime. Okay, I can hear the hate coming in, understandably why. If you think I'm kidding, well, I'm not. But if you think I'm retarded, well, I totally agree. Totally, 100%. As one who doesn't watch much anime, I shouldn't really be judging. Even then, Attack on Titan reaches levels beyond many Western shows could ever get near. Call me crazy, but this show rivals some of the greats, such as Adventure Time, Regular Show, Steven Universe. These three absolutely dominated my childhood. Popping Gumball in there too. If you've only seen Attack on Titan Season 1 and dislike it, you really need to finish it, as there are way too many people around the world just hating it just for Season 1 and its bad pacing. If you don't believe me, watch this video. Though there are spoilers, and if you're gonna start, you have to go back to 2010 and 9. If you're gonna start somewhere, we must start at 2010, and that was a shit year, with FIFA fucking over Australia's bid for the World Cup and choosing Qatar, which is a fucking boiling hot desert. Nobody wants to play fucking soccer in that shit. North Korea losing its shit in attacks, South Korea killing several. Protests in Thailand goes to shit as the military fires on civilians. The Jalajoku volcano, I had shit pronunciation of that by the way, in Iceland stops flights for several days. Kyrgyzstan, protests became deadly and went to shit as troopers start attacking and kills 70 while injuring 400. Chilean earthquake with a magnitude of 8.8 displaces 1.5 million. Spain wins the World Cup. I mean, this is not a bad thing. If you're Dutch, it probably is. And Collingwood wins the fucking grand final. Fuck Collingwood. This was a shit year, especially if you were Dutch and an AFL supporter. But there was one bright light in this year, and all of this happened because a man in Japan would create one of the most successful mangas. The day is 17th of March, or more commonly known as St. Patrick's Day, and that day would be the first time a volume of Attack on Titan would ever be released. The manga has sold 100 million copies since then, as of Boxing Day last year, but nobody expected the rise in popularity, especially the rise in popularity internationally, which they eventually released English volumes for. Let's go 3 years ahead now. And the year is now 2013. If you approach the anime industry, there's one thing on their mind. Only one thing. And sadly, it is not JoJo Bizarre Adventures or the Element thing. Instead, it is the anime Shingeki no Kyojin, or more commonly known as Attack on Titan. This show was so big that it was actually the second anime I ever heard of. Even my family, without weebs, who had not seen an anime. Attack on Titan blew up extremely quickly and transformed the world of anime with its over-the-top music and action-packed scenes. This shit was fucking crazy when I first watched it. It was as if they got a bunch of steroids and injected into one show. It was quite simply fun to watch. The show's first episode hooked us in really quickly and got us interested. But after those first 3 episodes, it got surprisingly boring at times, as the anime focuses on world building rather than the character development. Every character was pretty boring, and we didn't really learn anything about the characters, except Eren failed to keep balance for half an episode, and nothing was learned about anything except Potato Girl and the Stallion, and all we learned about Potato Girl is she just likes eating, and the Stallion is just a dickhead. But if I'm to be quite serious and to critique it, we've got to talk about the pacing. Pacing is a stylistic device used which shows how fast a story unfolds. Attack on Titan Season 1's pacing is quite frankly shit. Personally, I hate it when I watch an anime and something crazy is about to happen, and then we have a sudden flashback where they explain the plan or some shit, and this applies heavily to the second half of the first season. Attack on Titan Season 1's first half had pretty bad pacing, but not bad enough that I could just ignore it. But the second half was really, really bad, and it really bores me when nothing happens for a whole episode. Apart from that, Attack on Titan Season 1 was actually quite decent, but not the best show my younger self thought it was. It had some of the best moments I've seen in anime, such as Levi slicing up the bitch of the female Titan. Even with its great moments, it really gets messed up by the pacing, and it made it surprisingly boring at times. Something Attack on Titan does really well is, without explaining, it shows the aspects of the world and how it works. Isayama and the animation team did excellent on the small details, such as the markets, the different regiments, and how to get horses over the walls. These little details give so much life to the world and really makes it more realistic. Even with this, Attack on Titan Season 1 is not as good as we thought it was. It's nowhere near as good as many animes till this day, but it still stood its own ground and it really was something breathtaking to watch back then. But to be honest, it left many mistakes, which the second season would have to fix, but it will take many years till all those mistakes finally got fixed. Attack on Titan went on a very long hiatus, a real long one. There was no idea when the anime would continue, though during this vacant time, Isayama decided to pump out the manga monthly and giving himself the least amount of pressure and the most amount of time to complete the next 2-3 arcs, while the anime was on standby. Though the key issue was hype. As the years passed by, the hype really died down, and Attack on Titan was dethroned by My Hero Academia and One Punch Man. Though the last sightings of Attack on Titan was its OVAs, which were surprisingly good and fits perfectly into Isayama's work. Attack on Titan Season 2 was finally announced after 4 years. 4 years. The hype was only minuscule to what it was a few years back. Even then, minuscule still means a few million. The second season decides to slow things down, including the plot, and ignores the main 3 during the first half. It instead focuses on the 104th Cadet Corps recruits to the Survey Corps. Characters such as Bertolt, Rainer, Krista, Yamiya, and Connie get a fair more amount of screen time, and we get to learn more about them and start to empathize them. The second season, rather than having a random reveal such as the female Titan's identity, they instead feed us small bites of information which slowly builds up a grand reveal. Ymir, Rainer, Bertolt are developed enough, so by the time they reveal their identity, we're also feeling quite betrayed. And unless you read the manga, you saw this from a mile away. The plot was built up slowly, but it was built extremely well, and it felt really satisfying when you found out that there were Titans. After Eren's capture, the plot became a little bit slow for me, but it speeds up once again as the scouts try to take Eren back. As they attempt to get Eren back, the show gives us one of the best scenes, where Bertolt tells the truth, and this easily is one of my favourite scenes, and it involves some of the best writing I've seen, and it is just so good. The plot for the next few episodes focus on saving Eren, which they obviously succeed, and the writing for each character has improved drastically, and the development Isayama gave them is just astounding for just a crew of side characters who we didn't know much about during the first season. "2018 was one of the best years for anime. Isekai still dominated, but was freshened up with that time I got reincarnated as a slime. The romance/comedy genre was easily won by Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, with Takagi-san coming in second. My Hero Academia's Season 3 was released, while 2 Netflix shows really dominated, with Violet Evergarden, which is one of the most beautiful shows I've ever seen, and Devilman Crybaby killed the industry. And if this wasn't big enough for you, well, the king came back in JoJo's Golden Wind. These shows had to also compete with A Place Further Than the Universe and SSSS Gridman. So 2018 was a massive year for anime. Where would Attack on Titan fit? Unless you're a manga reader or a fanboy or fangirl, nobody was really interested in its announcement until the trailer got released, because holy shit, Attack on Titan looked batshit crazy again. But even then, with the amount of quality animes that are being released, it was tough competition, and Attack on Titan really got snubbed behind the big animes and the one-hit wonders. Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 1 is probably the most interesting season of Attack on Titan, as it ignores Titans and instead entirely focuses on the world, the truth of the walls, and the secret of the hierarchy. The first episode easily sets the tone as the scouts go on the run from the military police, while the second gives us some of the best scenes in Attack on Titan to date. Since last season, it had only been 2 minutes of Levi, but they ensured Levi was one of the main characters. He and Historia are the 2 main characters of the season. As the season progresses, some scouts have moral dilemmas and eventually have to kill humans or they'll be killed. The season provided us some of the best crafted scenes in Attack on Titan, especially those involving Historia and her decisions. Historia easily has the best moments and character development in the season, putting the rest of the female characters to shame in just 12 episodes. Levi's role is the best out of the male protagonists, as we learn more about his characters and past, which are quite grim and pretty dark. Isayama did really well putting these characters into this situation, as they made sense and they went through quite a bit of shit. Nobody went out of this unchanged. As you noticed at the start of the season, they were quite a rowdy bunch, but once you reach the end, they've changed and matured quite a bit. Though this is where I felt Attack on Titan's DNA changed. It felt a bit weird and foreign, but that may have been due to the fact there was no Titan. Even then, I've noticed the series changed a lot since I first watched, though it's for the better. And what's next? With each season, till now, each has improved where the other's fallen short. So what happens when there is a season without mistakes? "2019 was a big year. England Brexited, which probably in hindsight looks like a bad decision. The Amazon was on fire. The Americans absolutely screws over the Kurds. Trump gets impeached, but that doesn't work. Protests were the biggest thing in the year, with Hong Kong and the climate change activists, as Greta calls out on the UN. The real question is, though, how good of a year was 2019 for anime? The answer is a resounding yes. Lovers' War killed the rom-com genre. Fruit Basket made its long-awaited return. Dr. Stone is definitely one of the more impressive shows in the year, as they basically go from caveman era to create lights and electricity with the technology of that era. Which studio made Vinland Saga, which is definitely what I need to watch next. My Hero Academia was back for 4 successive years, and Demon Slayer provided us one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever seen. Carol and Tuesday really dominated the music category, but Erwin takes it away with his final charge. Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 felt it had no winners. They still haven't got the freedom, yet they made it to the ocean. Eren is a perfect example of how they felt and how the watcher felt. As you'd watch it, you'd notice that Eren's attitude and personality changes. The same with the rest of the squad, but especially Eren. He evolves from the raging little edgy bitch to something quite odd, who really doesn't show much emotion during the end of the season, in what should have been a momentous occasion for him and Armin. Instead, he just focuses on what's across the ocean. Attack on Titan has evolved from its bombastic beginnings back in 2013. The mistakes from the past were all patched up, and the plot went up a tier during the second season. Season 3 Part 1 puts the characters into stressful situations. Season 3 Part 2 takes the best of everything and builds a masterpiece of work. The evolution is only going to go further, as the 4th and final season was announced shortly after the ending of Season 3 Part 2, and I can assure you, it's going to get better. As Gigex said, Attack on Titan is one of the rare anime adaptations where they animate everything from the source content, unlike older shows that just scratch the surface. Many people look at Attack on Titan and spit on the mess that was season 1, the shit pasting and the one-hit wonder type they believe that could never be backed up. But we were proved wrong, and the show has just hit new heights and is going beyond what anybody could have expected. Season 4 looks to be even better, and undoubtedly it will be. As the final season, it's got plenty to live up to. Attack on Titan is one of the finest animes to bless the industry, and it may be the anime that we're all looking for. Okay, I've got to say, plenty of inspiration from Gigic as I want to say my bite on this wonderful series. But yeah, firstly, I don't think I've given enough credit to wit and the fine efforts of animating everything. The transformations would have been absolute torture, and then you've got to put into the fact that Vinland Saga also had to be animated around the same time of Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, my bad. So massive props to them, and they did an excellent job. One person I have not given enough credit to in the whole video is Hiroyuki Sawano, and his music easily carries Attack on Titan at times. It's just perfect, and it really elevates the anime over many others just by his music. Evan Zahyo is easily one of my favorite songs from the soundtrack, with so many coming close behind. The music suits perfectly, and I don't have much to say except it's just breathtaking and perfect. He is basically the Martin O'Donnell and Salvatore of anime, or the Hans Zimmer of anime. Have your picks. I also must talk about the bombastic openings which fills with hype. Linked Horizon did really well for their openings, as each one filled you with hype, and they were all extremely good. Red Swan was a fitting opening for Season 3 Part 1. One thing I noticed during the second opening is you see a blue and white dove, while in the fifth opening, or Season 3 Part 2's opening, you see two black birds, or ravens or sparrows, whatever they are, crows I think, which is really good symbolism for the season. Overall, the music was astounding. Well, that's really all I've got to say, and thank you for watching.